and ready to move into the second third of it. But great bye week, the ability as us coaches and us players to peel some layers back and see things that we did really good, things that we can build on, and some areas where we can get better. But I thought we had a great bye week practice. I thought our kids came out with great intentionality, great focus, got after it, and so I'm excited for this second third of our season to get going. And with that, I will take questions from you nice people.
Second row on the right side, Ryan Chapman starts off.
Yeah, just your relationship with Coach Krzyzewski, when did that kind of begin, and when did you identify him as someone that you worked really, really well with when it comes to everything with your quarterback brain trust and developing those guys along?
Yeah, Coach Krzyzewski, he's an unbelievable person, and he's a really, really smart ball coach. The first moment that I met Coach Kuz was when we were at Western Kentucky, and he came to be our director of player personnel. It didn't take me long after conversations with him and everything to figure out that this guy knows ball. He's a quick learner. He's diligent to every process that he has really in his life. He does a great job of building relationships with players, and he's a really, really good teacher too. So someone that I trust, to the nth degree, and I'm just glad every day that I have the ability to work with Coach Krzyzewski, and everything that he does, allows me to really be a coordinator for everyone. I don't just have to stay with the quarterbacks at all time. I can make sure everybody's pulling the rope in the same direction. And so he is a stud. He's a great coach, and he's a big part of our process.
Brent mentioned that Giovanni's been practicing for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
I guess what's it been like seeing him reacclimate to this offense after being out for 5+ months, and what do you feel like he can bring to that wide receiver corps?
First thing with Giovanni, it's just I'm excited for him personally because the kid loves football and he loves being around the team. And so just seeing how he handled himself during the injury and the whole process that took, you could tell it really kind of took a lot on him, but he's a very mature kid. He handles his business well. And so I'm just excited for him to get back to playing the sport that he loves. And he's been awesome these last, really month or so, just in the final stages of that rehab process, with the training staff running at practice, getting extra catches in, getting great mental reps during practice. So I'm excited for him to get reacclimated into the game of football, get reacclimated into the offense, and really find his spot. And I think he's a big-time playmaker. I really do. And we just got to get his football legs back under him, if you would. But the way that kid works and the way he approaches everything is awesome. So I'm excited to see Giovanni get back out there on the field.
Same row, James Jackson.
Hey, Coach, Hawkins said John Mateer was great in his development as well, along with you. But what have you noticed about the relationship with your two quarterbacks, just how they communicate and things like that?
Mm-hmm. So the cool thing is that I got to see John in the position that Mike was in, and I got to see Cam and John's relationship and how Cam interacted with John whenever he was the backup quarterback, and the questions and everything that John would have for him and how Cam would answer. And I think that stuck with John. I think John knows that it's not just it's not all about me. I got to make sure that I'm making everyone better. I think that's a mark of a great leader and a great player is you're making everyone better, even the guys in your position room. And the cool thing about Mike is he's absorbed it. It's really been fun this season to see their relationship really grow. Mike Hawkins, during games, whenever something good happens, he's right there dapping up John, celebrating, and that's a great teammate, right? But the work that goes into being the backup quarterback is really the same work that it goes into being the starting quarterback. And Mike he's a very aware kid, very cerebral kid, and John has had success, being a starting quarterback. So being able to take away from John what he does really well. And the thing about Mike is that you have to have your own identity too. So seeing the things that John does really well, hey, I'm going to try and emulate that. And hey, maybe John does this and that doesn't match me personally, or that doesn't match my game. How can I do something different? I think Mike has done a great job of that. And so it's really cool to see their relationship build. It's cool to see John in that role with the number 2 quarterback, and it's cool to see Mike handle his business the right way as that number 2 quarterback in the relationship with the number 1 quarterback. So it's been great.
Okay, first row this side, Jesse. Yeah, Ben, about Mike. Just what were your initial? We haven't asked you about him a ton. Just what were your initial impressions of him when you first got here, and how have you seen him grow just over the last few months?
Wildly talented. I mean, has great arm strength. The ability to extend plays, has a quick release, and I think just his speed is also kind of an X factor too. Just he's able to do special things with his legs. But I got to be here during the bowl game whenever he was the quarterback all by himself. So I think that month in that role was really, really big for him. Just being the leader of the team, being the leader of the offense, being the leader every day whenever you're out there at practice, because it is different. And I think that developmental stage in his process was big for him. But Mike, he's really a smart kid. He's fun to be around. He's not rah or anything like that. But I go back to summer workouts, like he finishes first through the line a lot. He's just seeing his body change from when I got here to the bowl game to whenever we started fall camp. I mean, he's put in the work to be a really good football player. And so I'm excited about Mike. I'm excited about opportunities for him. And, ready to watch him roll.
Ben, you mentioned the relationship that you already had with John.
Yep.
So as you moved into this new relationship with Michael, how tough was the process or easy was the process to figure out what he does well, where you can put him to put him in the best spot to succeed?
Yeah, I think that comes throughout practice and spring ball and fall camp. You see, you try and find the different strengths with the quarterbacks, and you try to call the practice or the scrimmage or the game accordingly to their strengths, because if you want the offense to be successful, you got to have the trigger man being successful too. And so that's where it came from. It's just a process with everyone. It's a different individual relationship with everyone. And so the biggest thing is finding everybody's strengths and then putting them in a position to be successful with those strengths while you're still developing, things that maybe they struggle with or they're good at them, but you want to get them great at them, right? You're always constantly trying to develop those things. But that's it right there. You're just trying to find those strengths and play to those strengths in order for everyone as a whole to be successful.
Ben, I know we heard from Brent last night about how John's really itching to get back as quickly as he can, but you've, of course, known him even longer and have this relationship with him. From that relationship, that time, how do you think he's dealing with this, John?
I mean, he understands his body. He understands the recovery process and everything, and he's going to stick to that process. And if there's a gray area, he may trend more towards the darker shade of the gray than the lighter shade of the gray in the recovery. But that just comes from him being a competitor and wanting to be the best player and best person and most ready for his teammates as possible. So, he's a pro in how he approaches everything, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, how different positions, talking running back spot.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of rotation going on there. But Jay Knott came in, ballyhooed. He hasn't really seen the field a whole lot. Has he shown any progress during this bye week, just to see the field a little bit more?
Absolutely. He had a great bye week practices. I thought he came to work. He had a great urgency about him, and and followed that up with a great Monday, walk through yesterday. I mean, he was really, really good in those, and so he's been focused in, dialed in, and really had a great bye week practice. So excited for him and the opportunities that could come his way.
Let's go far right side, Jenny.
Hey Ben, the quarterback position in power conference football is hard to get have depth at that position.
Mm-hmm.
You guys obviously have John and a guy that started games last year, Michael. What was the challenge to, sort of continue to have both those guys in that position, keep them both here, and is it different year over year trying to have some sort of depth at that position, sort of with the realities of today's game?
That's a great question. the position quarterback in college football and the nature of what college football is today, I think some of the things you said, I think is absolutely real. I think a lot of people, want to play now, and some people it works for to try and go somewhere else and play now, and some people it doesn't. I think every situation is mutually exclusive, but I think there's an important development process to the quarterback position, and the things that you can learn from being in a backup role and going to a scout team role. I think the different things that you can learn, the more you can stay true to a developmental plan and process of that, I think the better you're going to be as a quarterback. And so I think we're really fortunate here to have the quarterback room that we do. Whenever you think about John and you think about Mike, who has started games in the SEC and is really talented, and you think about Whit Neubauer, who's a true freshman last year, who started 8 games at Mercer and played at Alabama, and you think about Jet New, who's getting unbelievable reps down there on the scout team, going against one of the best defenses in the country every single day. I think each of those guys are in a different stage of their developmental process, and I think that's pivotal in continuing to build depth at that position, because the more depth you have at that position, you can ask any coach in the country, the way better you feel about your team. And so really proud of those guys and the work that they've put in. Proud of Coach Kuzieski and how, handling all of that. So it's been really, really good. And so that was a great question.
Yeah, Ben, I assume your name's been bandied about as a potential head coach candidate for a variety of schools. You're 30 years old. Do you feel ready to be a head coach? And does the changing, we've talked about it today, the changing nature of college football, does that make it harder for a young coach with no head coaching experience to assume one of those jobs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm flattered that someone would say that about me, but that none of that stuff registers in my head at all. I mean, I have a responsibility to this university and to these kids, so I haven't even thought about if I would be ready to be a head coach, or I'm not seeking anything either. So, I mean, my responsibility is to Oklahoma, to these kids, putting them in the best position to be successful every single day. And so, that's where my loyalty lies, and that's where my mind is set, is right here at Oklahoma. And yeah, that's about all I got to say about that one.
Yeah, I mean, Brent was talking last night about Mike's kind of the quieter guy by nature, and to be a quarterback, you have to be vocal. How have you seen that piece kind of develop with him? Because you talked about the leading by example workouts and stuff like that, but how have you seen him also grow in what he says?
Well, he's stepped into this role that's happened in the last 2 weeks, and he's done a great job of it, of understanding how he needs to be at practice, understanding the command he has to have at practice of the offense. But, really the quarterback position, it's a command of the whole team too, and he's done a great job of going in there. I think, being able to see John really do that this first month and a half or so, and piggyback off a lot of the things that he does. I think it's been huge for him, and he's been so good out there at practice. You can feel the command, you can hear the command, you can see the presence, and so I'm excited about how he's been with that, and excited to keep on seeing him develop.
Ben, you mentioned how cool it's been to watch John and Michael's relationship flourish, but Mike talked a lot about Coach Kuz last night. Just what's it been like watching those two sort of get together and Coach Kuz help with his development?
100%. Well, Coach Kuz does a great job of holding everyone accountable to the same standard of the room, and Mike's done a great job of receiving that accountability. It's fun to see out at practice. It's fun to see in the meeting room, just the relationship that they have, not only those two together, but the room as a whole. And it's just fun to see them get better each week, because that's ultimately what you want to do. You want to incrementally get better each week at something, right? Something you struggle with, you want to get a little bit better at it. And, I think Coach Kuz has done a great job of finding those areas, and Mike's done a great job of receiving that accountability and stuff. So their relationship's fun. The relationship of that room is fun, and yeah.
Yeah, Ben. Obviously, there's some similarities between Michael's game and John's game, but as a offensive coordinator, play caller, how do you maybe adjust to the style of play that Michael plays with versus John, or do you not adjust? Like, I guess how do you tailor the offense to him?
Well, it goes back to kind of what I said earlier. Throughout the last 10 months, you have to identify the strengths and not only every quarterback but every player too. But especially in the quarterbacks, you have to find what their strengths are, and you gotta call the game accordingly to what's going to put them in a position to be successful. And Mike's really, really good at a lot of things. And you're right, they are similar in a lot of respects, but there's a little bit of differences between them. And so just trying to put Mike and the offense in positions to be successful is of the utmost importance. And so it's something you have to be diligent with and something you have to really work on at practice, just making sure we're all in the right spot, right place and everything. But Mike's a really talented football player and really, really good at a whole lot of things. And so excited to get him in those situations to be successful.
Real quick, two more. Joe Masato and then James Hill. Ben, they're honoring the 1985 National Championship team here this weekend.
Yeah.
Curious what interactions you've had with Coach Switzer since you got here and just some of the things maybe you've learned about him.
Yeah. I think I've had 3 interactions with him, and each time, the first time I was kind of, oh my gosh, Coach Switzer right here. But he has been unbelievably encouraging to me every time I've seen him and talked to him. You can tell he loves football and he still keeps up with it because he's able to tell me stuff that we did in a game and like, hey, I really like what you did right here, and that's cool and that's really, really fun. I think the last interaction I had with him was down by the training room. I was walking in the bathroom, he was walking out of the bathroom, and we talked for 5 minutes. And so that's just really, really cool. But he's been extremely encouraging. Anytime he speaks, you better listen because the knowledge that you can get from him, even in a 5-minute conversation, I think can carry over into a lot of different aspects. And so I just appreciate how he's been in our interactions and just a great individual.
Do you have any wishbone packages you want to put in for
Maybe.
Watching a lot of college football, it seems like complete offense or not being one-dimensional is a key. Teams that couldn't run the football had really struggled offensively. I know that's a goal. You want to run the football really well, but do you feel like you're coming along in this area? And do you feel like that you'll run the football better outside of your quarterback? Can you get your running backs going in this game?
Yeah, you have to be efficient to efficiently run the football to win games. I referenced earlier you're able to peel back a lot of layers during a bye week and see where you need to improve. And I think we identified a lot of things that we can get better at. And I'm not even just talking about running the football. There's a lot of things that we can still get better at. And but that is one aspect of football that you better be able to do in order to win games. And so something that we have high urgency on. And I absolutely believe that we are going to get better at it. And so excited for that. Excited for the way that our guys have bought in to everything that we've talked about, especially the last week and a half, 2 weeks or so, and ready to get rolling with it.